Welcome to Episode 17, Identification and Authentication, Part 1, Authentication Goals and Threats. Identification and authentication form the front door of every system. Identification tells the system who someone claims to be, and authentication proves that claim is genuine. Everything that follows, authorization, monitoring, and accountability, depends on getting this first step right. Weak authentication undermines every other control, while strong authentication strengthens trust across the organization. The goal is simple: know who is at the keyboard, confirm their legitimacy, and make that confirmation resilient against deception or theft. Good authentication feels invisible to the user, but unmistakable to the attacker. It anchors trust by turning identity into proof rather than assumption. Building on that foundation, authentication quality directly determines how much trust a system can safely grant. A well-designed authentication process assures not only that the right person is logging in, but that their session stays trustworthy as they work. Poorly designed mechanisms, by contrast, open subtle holes that attackers exploit with social tricks or automation. Imagine a building where locks look solid, but every master key is copied. Even perfect surveillance cannot fix the basic flaw. Authentication quality, strength of factors, freshness of checks, and defense against reuse drives everything from access decisions to incident containment. The stronger the proof of identity, the stronger the confidence in every subsequent action. From there, understanding common threat paths and motivations helps shape better defenses. Attackers rarely guess passwords randomly anymore. They steal, reuse, or trick people into revealing them. Some pursue direct profit through fraud or ransom, while others seek persistence for espionage or disruption. Authentication is their first hurdle, so they probe where friction is lowest: password resets, help desks, or shared sessions. Recognizing these patterns reminds us that technology alone is not the whole picture. People, process, and policy create the real surface attackers exploit. Seeing authentication through the adversary's eyes clarifies where effort pays off most. Among the most persistent weaknesses remain passwords themselves and the habit of reuse. Despite decades of warnings, users often recycle familiar passwords because remembering unique, complex strings feels impossible. Attackers know this and collect billions of leaked credentials to automate login attempts across services, a technique known as credential stuffing. Even strong passwords fail when used everywhere. The solution combines technical enforcement and usability, password managers, breach monitoring, and user education that treats password strength as a shared responsibility, not a punishment. Every reused password is a key waiting to be stolen. Reducing that risk starts with practical support, not scolding. Phishing and consent fatigue exploit human psychology rather than math. Phishing emails mimic trusted brands or colleagues, luring users to counterfeit login pages that steal credentials. More subtle variants use prompt bombing or fake consent screens, overwhelming users until they approve a malicious request just to clear notifications. Defense requires both design and training. Phishing-resistant authentication methods like hardware keys or passkeys, and user education that encourages healthy suspicion. Reduce unnecessary prompts so real warnings stand out. The fewer meaningless alerts users see, the more seriously they take the important ones. Clarity defeats fatigue. Device theft and credential stuffing form another pair of everyday threats. A stolen laptop, phone, or token can become an attacker's gateway if local sessions stay logged in, or if cached credentials escape encryption. Credential stuffing, meanwhile, scales attack volume through automation. Thousands of attempts per second test known passwords across accounts. Countermeasures include full disk encryption, session timeouts, rate limiting, and anomaly detection. Think of it as locking not just the front door, but every open window. Each layer, device protection, network control, and authentication strength, reduces the chance that a single stolen credential leads to total compromise. Equally dangerous is SIM swapping and account recovery abuse. Attackers persuade mobile carriers to transfer a victim's phone number to a new SIM card, intercepting text-based codes used for two-factor authentication or password resets. Recovery mechanisms built for convenience, like email or SMS resets, then become vulnerabilities. Defenses include limiting use of text messaging for critical authentication, verifying changes through separate channels, and monitoring for unusual recovery attempts. Secure recovery may feel slower, but it prevents an attacker from turning customer service into an attack surface. Convenience without confirmation invites impersonation. Social engineering and support scams extend these risks beyond the technical layer. Attackers call help desks or employees directly, posing as users in distress, vendors, or even executives. Their goal is to bypass systems by exploiting empathy or urgency. Scripts that verify identity, cross-check recent activity, and require secondary confirmation stop most of these attempts cold. Training staff to slow down, confirm through known channels, and log unusual requests transforms them from weak links into human firewalls. Good authentication depends as much on calm process as on cryptography. Security under stress starts with people who know when to pause. Biometrics add both strength and complexity to authentication. Fingerprints, facial recognition, and voice patterns reduce password fatigue and resist remote theft because they are tied to the body, not to memory. Yet they raise privacy and permanence challenges. Once compromised, a biometric cannot be replaced. Safeguards include storing only mathematical representations rather than raw images, keeping processing on the device, and pairing biometrics with other factors for step-up assurance. Biometrics work best when used as one layer of a multi-factor model, combining convenience with cryptographic strength. Like any tool, they need boundaries as well as brilliance. Passkeys bring another step forward by providing phishing-resistant authentication through public key cryptography. Unlike passwords, passkeys never leave the device or travel to the service in reusable form. They rely on a private key secured by the device and a public key stored with the service. Even if attackers clone a website, they cannot replay the passkey exchange. The result is strong security and better usability. No typing, no reuse, no guessing. Implementing passkeys widely requires cross-platform standards and fallback planning, but the principle is simple. Remove secrets from human memory and protect them with math, not willpower. User experience and accessibility remain critical even in high-security environments. If authentication frustrates people, they will find shortcuts, share tokens, or delay updates. Balance protection with empathy. Design logins that are quick, inclusive, and forgiving without lowering standards. Provide clear error messages, alternate verification for users with disabilities, and seamless transitions between devices. Accessibility is not a luxury, it is part of security, because everyone must authenticate reliably for the system to remain consistent. A process that excludes people invites workarounds, and every workaround becomes a vulnerability. Selecting controls should always be informed by threats, not trends. Threat-informed control selection means matching defenses to the actual risks faced. Phishing-resistant methods for social engineering, hardware-backed credentials for credential stuffing, or adaptive reauthentication for high-value transactions. Evaluate likelihood and impact together, and prioritize countermeasures that reduce both. Guidance should stay dynamic. New threats, new mitigations, and new usability lessons continually reshape what strong means. The most secure design is the one that stays grounded in reality. Threats evolve, so must authentication strategies. Finally, clarify stakeholders, ownership, and accountability. Identity and authentication span technical, legal, and operational boundaries. No single team can manage it alone. Define who owns policies, who runs systems, who handles incidents, and who communicates with users. Regular coordination keeps updates synchronized and metrics shared. Accountability turns authentication from an IT feature into an organizational promise. When roles are clear, ownership becomes culture, not paperwork. In closing, authentication goals anchor every implementation choice. Identify users confidently, authenticate them securely, and keep that proof alive through every session. Counter threats with design, not just warnings, and measure success by both safety and usability. Authentication is more than logging in. It is the handshake that begins every act of trust. When it is strong, everything built on it stands firm. When it weakens, nothing above it holds. Thanks for listening. For more audio courses, daily newsletters, and more, please visit baremetalcyber.com.